Elliott, it's a disappointing result today. What's your verdict on how things went?
Thought it was a game where we were in control of it. We've had plenty of chances first half, first 20 minutes. You know, the intensity in some of our play was really good. Like I say, we had plenty of chances, plenty of opportunities. You know, that little bit of lacking quality at times, but yeah, I thought, you know, we didn't deserve. Well, I'm not sure we deserve to lose the game, but at the same time, I'm not sure we deserve to win the game. Like I say, I think there's moments where we pass and move the ball pretty well, but you know, our final pass, you know, needs to be a lot better, and you know, some of our movement needs to be better. And you know, I mean, the main thing is, like, I'm not making an excuse for the players, but you know, we've got, you know, a lot of academy players in the group. We've got young players on the bench. We've got players who played a lot of football. You know, players who are you know, physically tired. It's been a tough season. You know, spent a lot of time on the road, and I think one or two are just, you know, feeling the effects of that. And we've got to, you know, we'll take responsibility for it ultimately. You know, like I say, I'm not making excuses. We all need to take responsibility for the games where we lose, and we've got to make sure that, you know, we have to bounce back from it. And there's only us can get ourselves out of this position that we're in, where we're losing games. And you know, it's not a nice feeling. It's not a feeling that we all want. And yeah, you know, younger players who are playing, they'll learn a lot from it, but at the same time, they've got to make sure they do the jobs and do the jobs really, really well.
And playing against 10 men in the second half after a red card, first of all, how did you see the red card? But do you also think that made things a lot more difficult for the lads?
Yeah, it's never easy playing against 10, even when it was 1-1, and then when they get the second goal, you know, the goals from our point of view are terrible. They really, really are terrible. And that's the story of our season. We give terrible goals away. Once you give terrible goals away, it's you know, you give teams something to hang on to, and they've had something to hang on to with 10 men, and they've stuck at it, and you know, they've made it difficult for us. So you know, credit to them for that. But ultimately, you know, we've got to be better. And it's, you know, I think people think playing against 10 men the game should be easier, but it doesn't always work like that.
And a first start for Hughie McGowan today. How do you think he got on?
He was terrific. He was terrific. You know, takes the ball, handles the ball, moves the ball, good attitude. You know, there's little bits that he needs to get a little bit better with, but for his first start, he's for the first team, I think is credit to him, his family, and the club, and you know, he's a success from today. You know, even though that isn't, you know, because we've lost the game, everyone will be quite quick to criticise that we've lost the game, and that's fine. But ultimately, you know, Hughie's done smashing, and there's been some good moments in it, but ultimately we let ourselves down with a very poor goals against, and the lack of sort of care in the final third of the pitch.
And just finally, Alfie Myers-Smith went off injured today. Do you have an update on how he is?
I don't know. I think, you know, Alfie was doing really well. I think it was just one of them freak things. He's turned his ankle, and yeah, we'll just see how it settles over the next day or so. But I mean, it's the story of our season. You know, we've got players missing through injury. We've got players missing for other reasons, and you know, they're big players and they're important players for us, and they're a big miss for us. But it does give young players a chance, and you know, where we are at this moment in time, we are really young, and you know, we are threadbare to an extent in terms of our numbers. But that's again no excuse. We've got to make sure we just, you know, get our heads down, work hard, and do more to try to get ourselves out of the position that we're in.